Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name's Heather. I'm the Songbird Stamper. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and absolutely love paper crafting. So I'm here today to show you how to create a stenciled background using this beautiful new potted succulent dies from Stampin' Up, available in the Jan to June mini catalogue. They come as part of a bundle with the Simply Succulent stamp set. This is absolutely gorgeous for colouring in, but it's going to look fabulous on top of this stencil background here. So you get two dies. The stamp set is £20 and the dies as a bundle you get 10% off if you shop with me in my online store, and that is £50 and 25p. January's host code is up here if you'd like to pop that in, and then you when you shop online you'll be able to get an extra goodie from me to say thank you very much for choosing me as your demonstrator. So these are the dies. This cuts out the stamp. You've got some gorgeous sentiment stamp dies here that cut out the sentiments in the stamp set. You've got the dies that cut out the pot and the flowers here, or the succulents. And then you get this one, which is the one that we're going to be working with today. As you can see, it cuts all the way through. There is no outer border to this die. Okay, so you're going to cut through the cardstock here. All right, I'm going to just do that with you now just to show you how beautiful it cuts out. So excuse my messy desk underneath, but my cut and emboss machine does not work too well on the grid paper. So I've got my base platform, this one here, then I've got my die shim, and then I've got my base cutting plate, then I've got the die and the card. Now when you run a die this flat edged through, always try and pop it at an angle if you can do, because that will mean less pressure on your rollers, your machine will last longer and it will just go through easier. Think of it like a speed bump. If you put it through the flat edge first through, it's like it's trying to go through a speed bump. So let's just run through the die cutting machine. One pass is all we really need. You can already see it starting to come away here absolutely beautifully. You can just turn it over and double check that that's cut properly. I'll bring the grid paper back on in, and my bin, because there's a lot of bits in this one, and I'm just going to brush those out using the brush here, which you can get in the annual catalogue as well, although I've got more of them on the floor I think because I'm trying to multitask. And then you pull that away and you're left with that gorgeous image. You can use that just as it is. You could cut that out of coloured card, you could cut it out of white card like this and use that as a background. I've also seen where people have cut the succulents shapes out and used that on their cards. But we're going to use the blending brushes today. I'm just poking out the few. I should have had a here's one I made earlier. Just poking out a few last tiny little bits here. Okay, so there's our die. Got a piece of Whisper White card to go underneath, and I'm just going to line that up, and I am going to pop a little bit of tape on the corners. This is just a really low tack tape to hold this in place. I haven't put this very square onto my card, onto my grid paper here, so I'm hoping you can still see what it is that I'm doing. Now I've got three colours of ink. I've got Mint Macaron, this colour here, I've got Just Jade, and I've got Shaded Spruce. So I'm going to use one of the blending brushes. You get three of these in a pack. You can see mine have had some use already. £11.25, but they're absolutely stunning. Look, they're actually bristles. I hope you can see that there. So you get this really, really soft blend with your brush. I am just going to find an old piece of paper, and all I do to take some of this ink off, just rub that on. That's because I worked from light to dark when I gave this a go a minute ago. Okay, so there's our blending brush, one colour. I'm going to use the same brush for all three colours. I'm going to start with the lighter colour. This is the Mint Macaron, and I always just kind of start off my grid paper and then come on here. It depends how light or dark you want it. Okay, but I'm starting with my nice light mint macaron, so I'm going to try and get this fairly light. But it doesn't matter if it's lighter in places and darker in other. It's not a problem. Okay, then I'm going to go in for my Just Jade and pick some of that up, and you can tell that's just a slightly darker colour there, and I'm just going to, where the edges of my mint macaron came to, I'm just going in with my Just Jade, and the more coats you give it, the darker it will get. Hold that down a bit because it's just starting to ruck. So a few people have said, what's the difference between these and the daubers? And the main difference is that they are much softer and much wider head, and you can cover a much bigger area far more neatly as well than you could with the sponge daubers. Oops, so I've just gone a bit dark there, but that's okay. It's because I didn't come off my page to start working. Before I go in for my dark, I'm just going to grab a bit more mint macaron and just go over those areas in the middle and just blend those a little bit. If your paper does start to move underneath, it means I haven't taped it up all that well. You can just move it back into position, lay that down again. Okay, and then we'll come in with our darker shaded spruce. This is a really dark colour right on our corners here. So you could take a little bit more time over this, tape it down a little bit better maybe than I have, and keep going back over your colours if you wanted to. So back in with a little bit more Just Jade, just to darken up those edges. There, just to make sure you've got a nice blend all the way through. Okay, and then I'm going to lift that off and we'll see what we're left with underneath. Hopefully we'll like it. There we go. Doesn't look much when you've got this on there, and I'm always worried about what it's going to look like, but you could absolutely use this on a piece as well. Let me see if I've got a piece of plain paper just to show you what that background looks like. So you could use that on a piece of work as well, on a card. A bit messy, had a bit of fun there with you, and I hope you enjoyed the little video. So the products are available now. Like I say, if you head over to my store, www.thesongbirdStamper, that's my website, you'll find access to my Stampin' Up online store through there. And if you like what you see, I'd love if you subscribe to my videos, and I'll be producing more of these little tutorials in the coming months. I'm going to go and make a card with this. Thanks very much for watching. Take care now. Bye bye.